welcome to Five Things to Know, a Tax Talk Today exclusive. Today I'm joined again by Marcia North. Marcia is a Senior Tax Analyst and Stakeholder Liaison at the IRS Communications Liaison Office. Marcia, today I'd like to hear your thoughts on using the Tax Withholding Estimator. First, can you explain to our viewers what this is and why they should be using this, why the taxpayers or even tax practitioners can help in their taxpayers should be using this?
Absolutely. Thank you, Alan. So the tax withholding estimator is a good tool for both our practitioners and our taxpayers to use. So the IRS withholding estimator is a free, easy to use tool that helps workers, it helps retirees to estimate the amount of federal income tax that needs to be withheld from paychecks now for them to use to pay their taxes next year. So you use the tool to have the correct amount of tax withheld. If you're an employee with W-2 income, or you have a pension that needs to be withheld. You can then download a completed Form W-4, which is the Employee Withholding Certificate, or the W-4P, which is the Withholding Certificate for the pensioners, and then give that to your employer. And depending on the results, this could help you avoid having too little tax withheld, which may result in a penalty on the back end when you file your taxes. Or it could also mean that you have been over withholding, and in that case, you're getting a larger refund when you file your tax, but you could have been taking home that money in a bigger paycheck.
You know, I do recommend my clients get this as close as they possibly can, and I'm sure many of the practitioners listening do the same thing. This is a best way to help handle that, especially for our clients that are not good savers to put their quarterly estimates together, which is their other option when they have under withholding. Who should really be using this updated web estimator, and is there anyone who cannot use it?
So, what practitioners and taxpayers need to know is that this tool is available 24/7 at irs.gov, and taxpayers are usually encouraged to use the tool throughout the year, especially when they have changes that may impact their federal tax return. So the estimator is really intended for those who have a traditional job like a W-2, and or a traditional pension or annuity that has a federal income tax withheld. So we continue to look for improvements to the tool, and we intend to expand the tool in the future if that is possible for additional people. But it's really intended for those who have your traditional work or traditional pension. In addition, this year, we have updated the tool to include OB3, the One Big Beautiful Bill tax provision. So taxpayers or practitioners that think that they will be impacted by these provisions can also use the tool to look for the benefits that the provision provide them. So the tool have this estimator and the provisions embedded in the tool. Taxpayers who have more than one job, probably they have a job, their spouse have a job, are encouraged to use the tool to get to a closer withholding for both the taxpayer and spouse. Taxpayers who experience major life change, such as if they got married within the year, they had a divorce within the year, they had a child in the year, if they claim things like credits for the child and dependent care credit or the adoption credit, if they itemize, if they're getting mortgage interest, any of those credits and deductions that they think they'll be getting, they can use the tool to kind of estimate to get to a closer amount to withhold. Your gig workers can also use the tool to see what it is they need to have in estimating payments. So that's a wide amount of people that can use it. But when we think about the people who really shouldn't are people like your non-resident aliens, because non-resident aliens, we encourage them to use the notice 1392, that's 1392, which is the supplemental form W4 instructions for non-resident aliens. And this is because taxpayers without formal social security number, they may not be eligible for some of the credits that I just discussed and some of the deductions that I just discussed. So using information from the estimator may result in non-resident aliens taxpayers not estimating closely enough and not having enough withheld from their paycheck, which may result in a balance owed at the time they file their tax returns.
I did notice there was quite a bit changed from what we had a year ago. There's a lot more things that we're able to put in there, especially with the OB3 changes, the tips as well as the enhanced child tax credit. These are all added to it since the big change after TCJA. So if you haven't, I'm encouraging all of the practitioners out there, if they have not looked at the W4 planner or the W4 calculator, it's time to do that. Also, they may want to consider, and you mentioned it earlier, you mentioned in your description a minute ago, Marcia, that throughout the year we need to look into this. Sometimes our things change. It's
Sure.
not uncommon that our clients may get a huge bonus or they
Yes.
get the job, so it's important that they adjust accordingly. Multiple jobs, and maybe you give me a little feedback on this. I know that I've got clients that may have a part-time job,
Yes.
and especially in the service industry where there's very little where they don't make a lot of money on each paycheck. But at the end of the year, all of a sudden they made $12,000-$15,000 and there's no withholding. Is there a way that they can use the tool in this kind of a situation to help them get some withholding on those smaller wages?
Absolutely, Alan. I think about it, for example, some of the people that you may be thinking about are people who are tipped income employees that they may not be, or they may be working part-time, but the income that they'll be earning from tip wages, from tipped income, which is not your particular wage that they would think about, it is not fixed. Then for people like that, particularly since the OB3 provisions allow the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, then particularly those workers should be using this tool to get to a closer amount that should be withheld from their paycheck. Because they don't want to be over withholding, as I said, and in that case, they're taking home less monies, and at the end of the day, they will get back a bigger refund. But if you need the funds now in your paycheck, you should not be over withholding either. And particularly, we do not want people to under withhold, because that is where we're going to have the impact on our taxpayers paying penalties. And this is not a good outcome for the taxpayer. So the tool should be used throughout the year as you have those changes to your jobs and to your life in particular.
Great. Now, can you tell us a little bit about the calculator security? People are always concerned about this. Now, I assure people that the IRS website is a secure place to go to make their payments. But how about with the calculator? Does it say personal information? Is there anything to be concerned about there?
Oh my gosh, we get that question so much. The security of the tax withholding estimator is secure. And the reason for this is because the tax withholding estimator doesn't ask for any personal information when you're using the tool. It is a tool that just allows you to put in generic information as it relates to numbers. So it doesn't ask you for your name. It doesn't ask you for your social security number. It doesn't ask you for your address. It doesn't require any bank account information. So the IRS doesn't save or record any of that information that is entered into the estimator. It's generic information that is being entered that will not be shared with the IRS. There is no reason to log in. It's not asking you to log in anywhere, so you're not using any login tool that reflects back to the person who is entering the information. So the IRS also offer an authenticated access to people who need to log in on their online account. that is a different product than the tax withholding estimator. You just go to the IRS.gov website for the tax withholding estimator. Anyone can go there and use it. Search for the tax withholding estimator in the search bar, or go directly from the browser, irs.gov/tax withholding estimator. You don't need to put in your name, your bank account, any reflective information on that tool, so it's secure and the information goes nowhere.
Well, great. Is there any last words of wisdom you'd like to give the tax professionals or taxpayers rather that would be using this tool that they need to know or would like to share?
Yeah, I would say what I would say finally is use the tax withholding estimator because we have recently updated it. We've updated it to include the OB3, the one big beautiful bill provisions that allow taxpayers to account for the OB3 provisions, such as no tax on tip, no tax on overtime, no tax on car loan interest. We have there the deduction for seniors, and more accurately account for OB3 provisions that is related to modifications affecting your common tax benefits, which is tied to your family-related credit. So things like your home ownership, charitable giving, child independent care, adoption credit, mortgage interest, if you're itemizing, all of those have been updated in the tool to allow you to get to a closer match to withholding. So that's the last thing I would say with regard to the one big beautiful bill. As we're out talking about that more, that will help American taxpayers with those deductions and credits. Use the tax withholding estimator to get to a closer withholding amount so that you and your family can have the amount that you need to bring home in your paycheck.
Great. This has been really informative, Marcia. Thank you so much for joining us. And I look forward to having you back again on another Tax Talk Today program of some sort. Thank you all for watching. As always, it's been great learning with you. Be sure to join us again on an upcoming Tax Talk Today program.
Tax Talk Today, the tax show for the tax pro, is the innovative educational program presented in collaboration with the IRS, designed exclusively for today's tax practitioner.
There's various loss limitation rules we need to be aware of when we have a business activity.
Each program features in-depth panel discussions with key IRS executives and leading authorities from the tax practitioners community. Tax Talk Today features real-time interaction. Innovative and easy to use, Tax Talk Today is the only program that brings the IRS directly to you. Tax Talk Today can be viewed in large groups in the office or from the convenience of your home. To get continuing education credits for watching a program, purchase your CPE credits today. Tax Talk Today, the tax show for the tax pro.